Oh boy! Finally, I can't wait to play this. I was busy, okay? Y'all are lucky this video is even coming out, because these two games are the only ones in the series with absolutely no way to play them on modern consoles. Also, together, these two games cost me $200. I've always heard that this was one of the best games in the series, but I've never had any way of playing it. Until now.
Resident Evil 1 came out in
1996.
and pioneered the survival horror genre of games and was super successful, so Capcom was like, we need to capitalize on that shit right now. While developing Resident Evil 2, Capcom felt that the game wasn't what they wanted, so in a rough decision, they decided to scrap everything and start over. In the meantime, to hold players over, they re-released Resident Evil 1 a bunch of times with DualShock support, different soundtracks, and some more extra stuff. Resident Evil 2 finally came out in 1998 on the PS1, and everyone thought it was like the second coming of Christ, and rightfully so, because this game is pretty good. A couple years later, they would re-release it on the Nintendo GameCube, and that's what I'll be playing today. The game takes place sometime after the first one in the city of Raccoon City, where the T-Virus has infected almost everyone. We once again get to choose your character at the beginning. You get the option between Claire Redfield, a girl looking for her brother Chris, the guy from the first game, or this rookie cop on his first day of the job, Leon Kennedy. Leon and Claire meet up at a diner where Leon saves Claire from some zombies and they escape together in a police car. Eventually they crash and get separated by an explosion. Now, this is where the stories separate. The way the game works is at the start you pick a character, and you play through that character's A story. Once you finish the game, you can go back and play the other character's B story to see what they were up to during the game. So for example, if I pick Leon first, I would play through Leon A, and once I finish his story, I would go back and play Claire B. The internet tells me that the canon version of events is Claire A, Leon B, so that's what I played for this video. Claire begins by making her way through the city to the police station. She gets inside, and after some exploring and fighting monsters, she sees a little girl, but she runs away. She chases after her and runs into Leon, who says Claire just missed the girl. They split up again, with Claire looking for the girl, and she finds the chief of police, Brian Irons, sitting in his office with a corpse on his desk. Claire says that that's kinda weird and moves on, finally finding the girl. She finds out that her name is Sherry, and that she's running away from a monster that's specifically after her. Sherry runs off again, but Claire meets up with her in the underground area of the police station. Sherry helps Claire get some important items, but then they split up again.
I can take care of myself!
Cut to Chief Irons being attacked by a mysterious figure with a glowy eye. Claire finds him and he reveals that he's been working with Umbrella the entire time. Umbrella is the company that made the T-Virus and they're evil and stuff. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. Some gross worm thing explodes out of Chief Irons, killing him. You fight a big worm guy, and then Claire and Sherry go into the sewers. Claire and Sherry get separated again, and Sherry dies. Claire runs into this lady named Annette Birkin, who reveals that she's Sherry's mother, and that the monster that's after Sherry is her father, William Birkin. It's revealed that William was working on a new virus called the G virus, which mutates DNA, I guess. Umbrella tried to come and take his research, so he injected himself with the G virus, which is what caused him to be this huge monster. In the scuffle, some of the T virus was exposed to rats, and the rats spread it to the people of Raccoon City, causing the outbreak. Claire rescues Sherry, but discovers that she's been infected with the G virus. Somehow, they make it to a secret lab where they find more naked zombies. Aw, come on, cover that shit up. Claire meets up with Annette once again, and she tells Claire how to make a cure for Sherry. Shortly after, the Birkin monster kills Annette, showing that he's lost all of his humanity. Claire makes a cure for Sherry and is about to escape on an emergency train, but is stopped by Birkin, who has mutated even further. She puts Birkin down and escapes on a train with Leon and the now cured Sherry, ending Claire's story. I like this story quite a bit. It's got stakes and tension and fun, memorable characters, and it's helped by the significantly better performances than the last game, but unfortunately they're still not great.
Ooh, sorry about that, babe.
I know I skimmed a lot on the gameplay in the last Resident Evil video, so let's get a little more in depth this time.
Your main goal is survival. You have to make your way through the game with only what you find along the way, and everything is limited. Ammo, healing items, even saves. You save your game at typewriters, but it costs you 1 ink ribbon in order to save. If you save too often and run out, then you better hope you're good enough to finish the game without dying. Not only is all your resources limited, but also your inventory. You can only carry 8 things, and that may sound not too bad, but consider this. You need to carry a weapon, ammo for that weapon, maybe some healing items, and maybe some key items for progression so it fills up fast, and you can't simply drop things. You have to go to these things called item boxes, located in save rooms. The item boxes is the only way to drop items, but it can hold as many items as you need for you to come back and pick up later. There are many item boxes in the game, and somehow they're all connected. If you put one item in an item box, you can find it in any other item box in the game. With your limited resources, it's encouraged that you avoid fighting and run around enemies if possible, saving all your bullets for when you absolutely need them. And you're definitely going to need them more this time around because Resident Evil 2 introduces these new enemies called Lickers. They can't see, but they have great hearing, and they've got sharp claws, long tongues, and will jump around at you. They can also take a beating, so it's better to avoid them by walking around them, but if you do have to fight them, it's going to take a whole lot of bullets. It's not always easy to move around things due to the controls. Tank controls are still here, and I said in the last Resident Evil video that I had gotten used to them, but we're on the GameCube now, and its D-pad is not great, so I had to use the analog stick. I eventually got used to this too, but it felt more imprecise than when I was playing on a PlayStation controller for the other games. Aside from combat, the other thing you'll be doing in this game is exploring, collecting items, and solving puzzles. Oftentimes your objective is to find certain objects called key items, which are used to open your way to the next objective. For example, Claire has to find 4 animal stones to place in Chief Iron's office to unlock a path into the sewers. This type of progression is my favorite part of these games because it feels empowering to figure things out for yourself and collect items that open more areas for exploration. Specifically in this game, I felt the area design was spectacular. I never got lost, and I had a good mental map of where everything was due to the great and memorable design of the locations. I never had moments where I was stumped because it's set up in a way to where your puzzle solutions come to you naturally as you explore. Occasionally, you'll have to fight a boss. And just to sidetrack, I heard tons of people complaining that the giant gator was watered down in the remake, but the original is literally like 20 seconds of running away and then 1 shot. Almost all of the bosses are defeated in the same way. You just run away and shoot them when you get some distance, and if it gets any more complicated than that, then it becomes too difficult because of the limited controls, such as the final boss with Leon. With some of them, if you have a powerful enough weapon, you can just stand in place and destroy them before they even get near you. At the very end of the game, you're graded on how many times you saved and how quickly you finished the game. And obviously I got the worst rank.
Now that we're done with Claire's section of the story, we can move on to the big man himself.
Fuck the police coming straight from the underground. A young got it bad 'cause I'm brown. And
Leon begins at the same point as Claire did, but on the other side of the crash site. Leon makes his way to the police station, but he enters from the side entrance. He explores the police station some, but soon a helicopter flies over the station and drops a big dude out of the sky, and he crashes into the station. This is Mr. X, dressed in a fancy coat and hat. Those who played the remake first may be shocked to know that Mr. X only appears in the B story of the original, and he's kinda lame in comparison. In the remake, Mr. X will follow you non-stop through the police station no matter what. In the original, he just kinda appears sometimes and you run around him and he disappears after you go through a door. Leon runs into Sherry, but she runs away from him. Claire shows up and Leon tells her which way Sherry went, so they split up again. After more exploring, Leon ends up in the parking garage where he meets this lady in a red dress named Ada Wong. Leon immediately falls in love with her charming monotone voice.
Sorry about that. When I saw the uniform, I thought you were another zombie.
And she says she's looking for a reporter named Ben. Together they find Ben, and Ada claims that she's looking for her boyfriend, John, and thought that Ben would know something. He doesn't know anything about John, but he does tell them a secret way to the sewers. After more puzzling and stuff, Ben gets killed by Birkin, so Leon and Ada make their way into the sewers. Ada sees Annette, who runs away from them. Ada gives chase, being shot at in the process, and Leon takes a bullet for her, falling unconscious. Ada catches Annette and throws her off a balcony after a gratuitous boob shot because she says that John, her supposed boyfriend, is dead. Leon and Ada meet back up and make their way to the lab. On the way, Ada gets injured by Birkin, so she has to sit out while Leon searches the lab for a way out.
Is it just me, or does everybody always ignore what I say?
Leon does a bunch of lab stuff, and Annette shows up again and tells Leon that Ada is a spy trying to get a sample of the G virus. Leon doesn't believe her and she runs off. Mr. X shows up again, cornering Leon, but Ada jumps in at the last second, saving him, but Mr. X mortally wounds her. She tells Leon that she loves him and
dies.
Ada. No.
Leon makes his way to the emergency train with Sherry because Claire had to leave her behind while she was making Sherry's cure. Before Leon can escape, he has one final fight with a mutated Mr. X. Leon is getting his ass kicked until a mysterious woman who is definitely not Ada gives him a rocket launcher, and he uses that to finish off the monster.
Game over.
Unfortunately, I wasted a lot of time wandering around, but I just barely made it to the train with seconds to spare. Oops, well, shit. Let's, try that again. Leon escapes with Claire and Sherry on the train, but exclusive to the B story is a secret final boss with super duper Birkin. Leon kills it one final time, and he, along with Claire and Sherry, walk off into the sunset, ending the game.
It's up to us to take out Umbrella.
I like the idea of an A-B story, however I think it's got some problems. Describing playing the B story is basically just playing the same game with different story elements stitching them together. Both Claire and Leon travel through mostly the same areas and pick up the same items, but it doesn't make any sense because if Claire picked up an item in the A story, then how is that same item there in the B story? The game selectively makes certain decisions in the A story affect the B story. Like, for example, there's this locker with a submachine gun and a side pack in it. In the A story, you can choose to pick up either one, both, or neither. And whatever you don't pick up will be left there for the B story character. I would have liked it more if there was more instances like this, because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for both Claire and Leon to find the spade key inside the same statue but at apparently different times. The only other big difference from the A-B story is Mr. X, who doesn't show up at all in the A story. I think it is neat though, deciding who will do what, because Leon always has Ada in his story and Claire always has Sherry, but the A story will always fight Birkin and the B story will always fight Mr. X, so you can mix and match. After playing the game twice, I can say that Resident Evil 2 lives up to its reputation as one of the best in the series. It's got everything that made the original great, but it just adds more and tunes out the stuff that didn't work. The soundtrack is great, the gameplay is even better, the graphics have been improved. I think I still prefer the remake as my favorite Resident Evil game, but the original is definitely a close second.
Oh, right, I forgot to look at my final ranking for my B story playthrough.